Yo, 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 what is up everybody? Popo here bringing you guys a new video, and today we're going to talk about positioning. Let's go. Welcome everybody, and today we're going to be talking about positioning in Pokemon. It's a very, very hard topic to talk about, and something that's super, super challenging to explain to somebody, because you kind of have to feel it, but I'm going to do my best today to try to explain it to you guys. We're going to play a couple of matches here on Showdown, and I'm just going to go over each thing individually and just try to give best understanding as I possibly can to you guys. And if I don't do a good job, I do apologize, but I am going to try to do a good job. This is a team I made. I'm going to have the Pokepaste down below. But yeah, positioning is extremely, extremely important, because if you can put yourself in good positions, whether it be with a lead or later on in the game, you have a better chance of winning the game. A lot of times people just worry about the power of the Pokemon, and that's why they do really poorly with a lot of the really good teams. Like if a team wins a regional and then you're unable to win with it, and a lot of that is because of the fact that you don't have the positioning that maybe some of those top players do have, and that comes with experience and knowledge. So the more you know about the metagame, the more you know about different Pokemon, the sets and stuff like that, the better you can do with actual positioning. Today we're going to be doing best of one, so I'm going to just show you in a best of one, if you're playing on ladder or anything like that, how to make sure that you are getting yourself in good positions. So I made a team here that has a couple of different positioning, I don't want to say requirements, but like, you know, effectiveness, and we're going to go through with it and kind of just see how it does, and if we can take some victories. I can't promise I'm going to win, but I'm just going to be focusing on explaining positioning to you guys. So yeah, let's just go find our first opponent. This is on a fresh account, so hopefully we won't run out of time. So speaking of positioning, we have here a very interesting team. Now, this is Wolf Glick's team with, for some reason, a Regigigas involved. I don't really understand the Regigigas play, but hey, I'm here for you, buddy. So I think it's important that we focus on what the team is going to try to do, which is set up Bronzong. And we try to take advantage the best we can of that. So I think leading with an Ogerpon is probably very, very good here, as well as leading with either the Urshifu or the Farigiraf, but I'm going to go with the Urshifu because it's pretty good against a lot of his team, and I think we go with the Rillaboom and Calyrex in the back. So we're going to see Clefable and Golurk. Okay, interesting. Not what I was expecting, that's for sure. If I would just went with Calyrex, I think I would have just straight up won. So there's no Trick Room coming out here, right? I think we could just Ivy Cudgel. We can just Ivy Cudgel, coaching. Yeah. So our position here is actually really, really good, because we put a lot of offensive pressure onto both of their Pokemon, and we do get the knockout here, and no skill swap is going to happen. So we basically already won this match because our lead was just so good against theirs that they were unable to take advantage of anything. Now we could just focus on knocking out everything that's not named Clefable, because then we just beat Clefable at the end, right? So we can just continue coaching up Ogerpon and just knocking out all the other Pokemon. It's just going to keep going for skill swap. And skill swap's not going to be enough. So there was a great example of our lead advantage where we had so much offensive pressure onto both of their Pokemon. I don't really know what they're going for. I guess they were trying to set up Regigigas with no guard. Sure, I guess. But since our lead was so offensively like demanding, that they just had no position to be able to apply, you know, any effectiveness. If they would have went out with Bronzong, I could have did a similar strategy. Whereas, you know, coaching up the Ogerpon was able to do effective enough damage. If they would have went for Follow Me, we still get tons of damage off onto this. And if they try to go for Lapras or the Golurk, we can go into the Rillaboom with a +2 Ogerpon Grassy Glide. So we still had a lot of offensive pressure on them, and that made them have to make some interesting decisions, but they just went for skill swaps. So, yeah. But we positioned ourselves well to have just a ton of offensive pressure onto this whole team, and you could really see there that that positioning really paid off in the end and allowed us a victory. What are we doing? This is okay. Sure. But anyway, so here we have a pretty interesting team. He's obviously going to try to go fast, so we can take advantage of that by just slowing the pace down with Trick Room. So we want to make sure that we're positioning Trick Room. And he's going to go for as much damage as possible. Goldango is really, really strong here, as I can't fake it out. It also hits Calyrex for super effective, though we are water terrestrialization, so that's going to help us a lot. We can't be hit with the what's it called? The Intimidate, because we do have the Clear Amulet, so we want to lead Calyrex here. And we're going to want to have Farigiraf on the back, but I think leading out, we're going to try to have Rillaboom, so we can put a fake out pressure on the board and bait an attack into Farigiraf and stop that fake out. And then last but not least, I think we're going to want to have Ogerpon. He's going to boost us up. He's going to boost up our damage, and we will have multiple ways to take care of that. So we want to position ourselves well on this first turn by setting up a fake out, a potential fake out, and also setting up Trick Room. Getting those both out on the first turn is going to be really, really strong, and we could start chipping off their Pokemon pretty quickly if we do so. So we do see the Caly-I, and we actually see Walking Wake here, which is perfect. It's actually a better lead against, because now he has basically nothing going on. As we can Water Terra and go Trick Room. So what's really good here is this is Speed Boost. He can't hit us for super effective with anything. So he's most likely just going to go for the Hydro Steam, but we're going to resist that, and we can fake out Caly-I, which creates a better turn for us next turn. If he does go into the Rillaboom, knocks out the Rillaboom, that is perfectly fine too. But we are in a very, very good position. And yeah, he's going to just go for Flamethrower, actually. Which, as long as it doesn't burn, we should be okay. All right, so we are going to get that off. And now, since we are in such a great position, we can actually just go Glacial Lances, and we can just start going for Wood Hammers as well. So we can just Wood Hammer into Walking Wake, though there's a good chance that he actually protects Walking Wake, though we did not see the item on it. He also left, so... But Wood Hammer can't be taken by any of these Pokemon besides Incineroar. So it's perfectly fine to go for this. We could also just switch into Ogerpon at this point, but I don't think we need to. I think we could just go for that. But if they left, I don't know. I might have to restart this video. just do another game. Excuse me. Then we had somebody else join. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Low ladder, boys. Low ladder. I'm just trying to teach y'all about positioning. Why is nobody want to face me? Oh, man. Okay, so we have an opposing Calyrex. So oftentimes these matches are 100% based on positioning and basically nothing else. So it's very important that we get the positioning correctly. And I think that begins with Landorus here. Landorus puts a lot of pressure on 3 of his Pokemon just right out the get-go. Plus, we have that substitute, so we're able to protect the Landorus and get off some more free attacks. Farigiraf is also really, really good here, as it will stop the fake-out from the 2 Pokemon. And, of course, Calyrex is going to be very, very good, especially later in the game when Trick Room is already up. And we're going to try to force our opponent to actually set up the Trick Room. So we're going to go Landorus as the lead. And then we're going to have, we can either have Urshifu or we can have Calyrex as our semi-lead here. I think we always go the Calyrex to set up some more opportunities. We go Farigiraf, and I think the last one is actually going to be Ogerpon. I know that they have, the Pelipper, but we do have some good pressure with Ogerpon, and we can get those Follow Me's, which is going to help us later in the game. So they actually go for Urshifu and Calyrex, which is not something I was thinking would happen, but I guess I'm fine with. That means we can go out with Farigiraf right away, and we could possibly just go for... Let's see. Here we go, Frigoraph. And this is a weird lead. I was not expecting this. I would have brought Rillaboom. So we positioned ourselves really poorly here, and now we have to kind of pay for what that poor positioning has led to. Yeah, I think it's just to get damage out on the board. So he's gonna go Glacial or Surging Strikes into Calyrex and Glacial Lance, which we're gonna get Glacial Lance off too. Now what we can do is go for yeah, this is a bad position. We had really bad positioning here. So, can't really blame anybody but myself. We're going to go Helping Hand, and we're going to go Water Terra and High Horsepower. This should help us survive. I think we're going to survive. He's also faster. His Calyrex is faster. It was not enough. That's unfortunate, but we can go Ivy Cudgel here. And yeah, Glacial Lance. We're gonna have to let him go down, I think. No, I think we just knock out Urshifu. And we protect. Yeah, they outlet us, and this is why positioning is super, super important. I never thought that they would go for Urshifu Calyrex. I guess I should have considered it, but it just wasn't something I had considered. Yeah, he's going to knock out Ogerpon, but we are going to take the Urshifu. Yeah, okay, and now we have Landorus, and they have Pelipper. I just don't think we do enough damage here. I guess, yeah. I guess we need a crit Sludge Bomb. Is it Sludge Bomb? It's not Sludge Bomb, is it? It's Earth Power. Why am I going Sludge Bomb? We need to crit. We don't get the crit, unfortunately. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. We just led poorly, and that's what took over the game for us. So this is going to be expanding force stuff, which is perfectly fine. We're going to go with Calyrex, and we'll lead with... we could lead with Farig, but it's definitely Calyrex. It's definitely Urshifu. It's definitely Rillaboom, and then I think, yeah, Farig is going to be the last one. Okay, Poltegeist. I think it's just Glacial Lance coaching. Yep, Shell Smash, perfect. Perfect. Bop. Okay. And now he's going to go for Shadow. Oh, it goes into Incineroar. Okay, interesting. I'm going to protect, switching Rillaboom. So the reason why we're protecting is because I don't know what he's going to go for. It's Giga Drain, so that's fine. And now we can just High Horsepower here, and we can actually just go for Grassy Glide into Poltegeist. And that'll be enough to take out Poltegeist, and because it has lower defenses, if he switches out, he's going to take a High Horsepower. We should probably Trick Room, actually. I think it's Trick Room Grassy Glide, because then we just win. He has no way to come back from Trick Room, I don't think. We also Water Terra. Water Terra, Trick Room, Grassy Glide. There we go. That's the play. I'm not convinced that even if he Terra'd, he would survive this. So, yeah. Yeah, and there's that. And yeah, so So you could see here, yeah, he only had a couple of Pokemon. His team wasn't that great, but we positioned properly, right? We, led with the Caly-Rex. We put ourselves in a position to do a lot of damage on turn 1. We went for Glacial Lance just in case that they go for something like the my brain Imprison. So that way, if they imprisoned our Trick Room, we could still do some damage and get out there. We also ended up knocking out Indeedee, which is very, very good. And Giga Drain didn't do anything. Coaching was very, very good because it just put a lot of offensive pressure on them. And having an Urshifu out there really just took away all of their momentum. And yeah, so we just positioned ourselves very, very well. Let me do one more, see if we can get a even better positioning game, because it's been very hard to get a good positioning game so far. Okay, so here is a very interesting team. They got Water Pond. They got, I don't know what... This might be beat up. It could be beat up. I think we always go Ogre Pond. And they can't take our terrain, so Rillaboom, Ogre Pond are going to be very good in the late game. And then we can use Caly-Rex. It's just, what do we want the last Pokemon to be? Is going to be, I think it's Ogre Pond, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Caly-Rex. The problem I have with this is that late game, it might be hard to deal with Zacian, but I think we should be okay, depending on who we use our Terra and if we can preserve ourselves. So they're going out with no offense here, which is kind of confusing to me. I'm going to Ivy Cudgel here and actually switch into Caly-Rex, I think. Yeah, and I want to position myself better since they have no offensive pressure here. I want us to be able to go for the Trick Room on this turn. And we can go for Follow Me, and we can go for Trick Room. And since they went for Tailwind, now we have advantage on the speed always, and they can't Encore us into Trick Room because we have permanent Follow Me. And Follow Me always goes before Encore is going to go, so they can't Encore us at all. And we'll be able to set up this Trick Room. They also can't taunt us, which is really, really nice. And yep, there's Encore. And then we're going to get Trick Room. And then we're going to Follow Me, and we're going to Glacial Lance. And then we can switch out into Rillaboom, or we can go back out into Urshifu, which will be really nice. We're also going to be able to knock out Whimsicott here and get a free +1 attack, which is really, really good. And then they'll probably go out with, oh, Chi-Yu. Very interesting. Okay. Very interesting. All right, I'm just going to go for the knockout on Chi-Yu. And this prevents him from switching into Zacian as well, because we're attacking into that slot at +1 is going to be pretty good. And we don't really care about you. So Bop. It's actually Focus Sash, which is actually pretty good for us. All right. And that's good. We're going to switch out into Rillaboom. Is this the last turn of Trick Room? No, 2-turn Trick Room. So we're going to go out into actually Urshifu. And then we're going to go for Glacial Lance. And the reason why I go for Glacial Lance is still a knockout on Chi-Yu. We can't miss. He Fairy Terras, so we're going to do actually even more damage to Zacian, which is almost 50%, which is crazy. And he's just going to attack into that, which is perfectly fine. And we're just going to go for Aqua Jet into Zacian, and we can go for Glacial Lance here. We can also switch out into Rillaboom, which would be a pretty decent play too. But I think this play just puts enough pressure on Zacian. Do we do that? No, I think we always go Rillaboom, right? And we just go Glacial Lance. And this gives us Fake Out, and we're going to position ourselves well here to get Fake Out into getting another Trick Room off. Yep, and there's Protect, so that is perfect. And now we can just go for Fake Outs or even Grassy Glide. I think we go Grassy Glide here, and we actually just go for Trick Room again. And then we have Ogerpon on the back, which will just be more than enough to win us the game, probably. Grassy Glide should be enough. Yep, okay. And yeah, this play rough. That's fine. Don't really be bothered by that. And since Chi-Yu is basically knocked out, we never have to worry about that again. We go out with Ogre Pawn, and we just go Glacial Lance. And he doesn't even protect. He's just going to go for the knockout on Caly, which is fine. And then now we can just go Urshifu. And he just can't do anything, right? Because we can just go Ivy Cudgel. And we can go Surging Strikes. And he can't get past both. So, as you can see there, we were able to just position ourselves well. I'll go back. We'll do a bit of an instant replay here. So, right out the get-go, he has no offensive pressure, right? So, no matter what we have out on the field here, we have a big advantage. Grimmsnarl is most likely to have a dark attack, whether that be Sucker Punch like we saw on this one, or it could be Foul Play. But we don't know which one it is. My guess is always going to be Foul Play, so we don't want to position our Calyrex in the lead against Grimmsnarls or against Zacians or even against Annihilates because it's at such a disadvantage. And that's why we didn't lead with it, right? Because it was very important to not have that as a disadvantage for ourselves. Now, Tailwind is the most likely thing to come out, but we could also see Moonblast into Urshifu, and that's what makes this a little bit dangerous. I said no offensive pressure, but I guess there is a little bit of offensive pressure, and it's going to be from that Whimsicott into that Urshifu. But Grimmsnarl is just going to set up screens here, which is great because Urshifu doesn't care about screens, and we can kind of see that's kind of how it went. So here I'm hoping that Whimsicott has the Focus Sash because then we won't take a knockout on it, and it'll be perfectly fine. But it ends up being fine anyways. As they go for the Tailwind and Reflect, and we get the Ivy Cudgel, we actually don't knock it out, which is pretty surprising because Ogerpon's very strong, but it's beside the point. It puts it in a perfect position for us to get an attack boost on Calyrex now, especially if they don't switch out. But if they do switch out, then we put pressure elsewhere. So I think it's still in a good position. So our positioning right now against our opposition is very good because they just have no offense. And now they have Encore Pressure, which is going to be Encore Pressure into Ogerpon. Their other moves probably aren't going to do anything unless they have Taunt. But if they have Taunt, it's still into Ogerpon because we can go Follow Me. Grimmsnarl is more likely to just set up another screen, despite the fact that we don't actually have any special attackers in the back. They don't know that. They're probably worried about Landorus as well into the Zacian, but we're not doing any of that, so it's perfectly fine. So we can just go Follow Me, and they try to Encore us into Ivy Cudgel, but that's perfectly fine. And as you can see, now we set up ourselves under Trick Room while they have Tailwind. And we have Follow Me support, and we have, you know, a move that hits both opponents. So we're in a pretty good position. It's a little scary for them to try to switch because they'll just take some free damage. Even if it is Glacial Lance, excuse me, it's still free damage. They go out in the Chi-Yu here, and they end up switching into Zacian. And here we're still in a very good position, though. We don't really need Ogerpon out on the field doing this anymore, but we just make sure on this turn that we don't get Sucker Punched. Free damage is never good damage, and doing this ensures that we're going to get some damage off on the opponent, though. They do end up having the Focus Sash, but we're still in a good position. Focus Sash is really good with Calyrex, especially 2 turns into Trick Room, because it sets it up for a Glacial Lance. And Ogerpon does take some damage, but we know we can go back out into Urshifu. And I didn't think this was going to terrestrialize, but I'm really happy it did because we ended up doing so much more damage than we normally would have. And yeah. Also glad it didn't actually play rough into Calyrex and it went Sacred Sword into Urshifu, which is that the play? I don't think that's ever the play for my opponent, but I guess if he goes for any other play here, then my Urshifu just kind of wins me the game. Because I know that they don't have the Ogerpon now, so I can just freely go for stuff. So my positioning here is really good because I'm just putting so much pressure on the Zacian now with both Glacial Lance, with high horsepower. I'm also taking a knockout on Chi-Yu. I could also go Aqua Jet Chi-Yu and go for Glacial Lance to get single target, which would be enough. But I don't really have to do any of that because Trick Room, this is the last turn of Trick Room, you know, I'm going to position into a place where I can set up Trick Room on the next turn. So Fake outs are going to be able to stop both of these from attacking. More likely going to be the Zacian, though I'm not convinced that the last move on this is not going to be that foul play, so I got to make sure that's doing okay too. And yeah, so we're able just to get that off. And yeah, we have fake out pressure, but we also have Grassy Glide pressure into the Grimmsnarl, so we can just take out Grimmsnarl. He can never one-shot our Calyrex. Even with a critical hit, he wouldn't even have done enough. So our positioning here was very, very good, and just getting up another Trick Room just straight up wins us the game, because this is at 1 HP. It goes down to Grassy Glide. This is at 62, but we still have Ogerpon in the back who's going to do a lot of damage. We have Urshifu who can still do a lot of damage. And we have a full life Rillaboom that can go for a ton of damage as well. So here we can just switch into Ogerpon and go for Glacial Lance, because if he doesn't go for the knockout on Calyrex, he just loses. If he goes for the knockout on Calyrex, then he just loses. Next turn to Ogerpon, and Chi-Yu never lives past the turn unless it protects. So, and he doesn't protect either of the Pokemon. We get Glacial Lance off, we get another boost, and he actually goes for the play rough. And that is just going to be GG, because yeah, we can just go out for Urshifu plus Ogerpon, and once again, Urshifu can attack through protects. So that's a huge deal, as though we are slower than Zacian. Zacian can't hit both of these Pokemon. Therefore, Zacian has to pick a target. If it picks into the Ogerpon, Ogerpon still gets a hit, but even if Ogerpon didn't get a hit, then Urshifu attacks through it anyways and knocks it out. And if he does protect, then Urshifu knocks it out, and Ogerpon always hits, and then next turn, we still have the same pressure with Urshifu, and now we have Rillaboom, who is at full life, who can go for fake outs, and you can't stop Urshifu plus fake out from damaging you unless you have Psychic Terrain. So, or like Furgraph or something. So, as you can see, we can just put a lot of pressure on our opponent by our positioning here. Urshifu really greatly positioned into our opposition, as well as this Ogerpon. And with their speed tiers staggered, it's going to go Ogerpon, Zacian, Urshifu always. So, yeah, that's kind of how you position. I hope this was helpful. I know a lot of people just left. I might cut out some of that. We'll see. But I think it's really important to learn how to position yourself, and it's really, really hard to teach. And if you feel like you're not positioning yourself well, it's hard. It's really hard. So don't get down on yourself for that. Just keep working on it. Play more games. Watch a lot of streamers and YouTubers. Like watch Cybertron, watch James. They'll talk about why they're switching Pokemon, and just kind of start to learn from that. Like, start to understand, take notes, even on their games. Maybe take some notes on why they switched, when they switched, who they switched against, which Pokemon they switched. Just take notes, because even if you go review those a little bit, it might help. There might be a situation perfect to those, but you know, positioning is very situational, and every team is different. Even teams with the same Pokemon, it's different. So just learn your matchups with your team. Use something you feel comfortable with, you know, stick with it. Don't give up, and just, you know, incrementally improve on it. I've been playing since 2016. I still am not the greatest at any of this. As you can see in that other game, we led so poorly that we just straight up lost the game right out the get-go. And you can do that. That happens. And that happens to some of the best players in the world too. So it can happen. You know, there might just be some little tech that you didn't expect, and that could just take over the match. But there's just so much going on in these matches that you can't get yourself down for missing something. It's just the way it is sometimes, and you just got to accept that and just, you know, move on and just go to the next. But yeah, so take notes. My advice is take notes, play games, lose games. If you can, record your games. If you're using Showdown, super easy. Use every resource. I've done videos on resources to use. Passarak, I think is the name of it. I can't remember. I'll have the link down below for that video. So you can go check that out. But that will help you record all your matches, and then you can just, you know, look at all the data and see where you're going wrong and all that stuff. So record your matches. If you can get a very cheap, like, what's it called? Like Elgato, but not an Elgato. I can't think of the name of it. A video capture device. If you can get a cheap one, get a cheap one. Even if the quality's trash, just get one, because you're going to be the only one who watches them. Maybe you can upload them to YouTube or whatever you want to do too, but just get one. Use it to learn, use it to like start looking at your matches and seeing where you're going wrong, where you lost the match. Because sometimes it's just one switch. One switch in could have won you that match. One not switch could have won you that match. Predicting one of their switches, positioning yourself a little bit better, getting fake out so you can set up trick room like we did. Like that could be the difference between you winning these matches and you losing these matches. So you got to just progressively get better at this. It's not going to come overnight. It's not like, you know, something so simple as to where team composition, where you can learn, you know, team composition, fire, water, grass, right? Fire, water, grass. Okay, well, I'm going to put, this is a fire, water, and this is a, you know, I mean, this is a fire, grass, this is a water. So I'm all set. I got my fire, water, grass core, right? Like that's easy to you know, conceptualize, but positioning is not. It's one of the hardest things in the game, and it's what separates the best players in the world from, you know, the average player. And getting good at it will increase your viability of winning just so much more than you think it will. You might think it's the team, the stats, all that stuff. It's not. It's positioning. Positioning will separate you from everybody else. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you guys do so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.